Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Let's see what we can get into. We're going to do a little bit of this spooky matter. And this came out October 1st, 2013. And this is all about the ghost stories and other frightening tales. Enjoy.
Welcome to Spooky Matter.
Thank you, Art. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Congratulations. You know, you got a brand new radio and you got a 1-year subscription to SiriusXM.
I'm so very excited.
Yeah, it's a good deal. How did you come upon the show?
I actually had heard many rumors about the Great Art Bell, and one of my friends is an excellent subscriber, and I just happened to be over and got to listen to a couple of your programs, and I loved it.
Uh-huh. Well, we depend on that kind of thing for sure. Anyway, tell me about the booth, would you please?
Okay, I actually worked with a fellow at a cable company local here, and he knew that I did some amateur ghost hunting, and we would talk about that. And he was kind of shy to show me, but he actually showed me this photograph that I entered in the contest, and that was at his sister's house, and that they had been experiencing creepy stuff that had been going on at home. And when I saw that picture, I had never seen anything like that before. I had gotten over myself, but nothing ever like that.
Yours was excellent. The most positive comment, like 100, I think, positive signs that I there was one other, but I got qualified because somebody pushed it from another website. Yours is an amazing. Whoever took who took that? Okay, well, I think you'll be able to catch up my job.
No one gets captured and put it in the fire, really for the shot. And before absolutely. I would say before the other one, applications on the whole thing, yeah, it's been a long time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spooky Matter. What today is going to be, as I mentioned, is a combination of this and something much known as and we are in the process of we will augment TV with open line ghost stories. However, I want to serve up to I'm not scared by your story. Probably not. It's got a cool and chill. Real safe area. Maybe I'm chill down this. I see a story. So it gotta be good ghost stories. You know, if we take Huddle Up, they've gotta be good ghost stories. And I'm also going to have a special request tonight that if you're at the library tonight, and who's something and if you want to tell your ghost story, you can put it over safely into a ghost story or somewhere where you stay. So you can tell your ghost story with good self control and reasonable quiet. Let's go to Tennessee and let's see. Did I guess the name is right? Hello, Tennessee. Hello, Osage. Are you there, my friend? Oh, my friend. Osage, are you there, buddy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I thought we had lost you for a minute. All right, so what's spooky in Tennessee?
The story I have is actually whenever I was overseas in the military. First, it's one day in the military, so I'll try to
Relax. Don't listen to any alien story.
Okay, yeah. I would like to get a shout out to the program.
What I call ambitious, but angry lovable. That's how brilliant.
Yeah. Well, the story has to do when I was in the military. It was 2002, 2003. I was stationed overseas in Korea. On the base, which is California.
No, I've been to Korea anymore. Interesting ways. As we go there, so that if the North starts a war, America is automatically
Well, people don't know that we were never actually
Is that about these guys are down in North Korea?
But I got this.
Stories are secrets in country in the world as they are here. The world's questions are universal. Let's go to right here in Nevada and John. John, welcome to Smoking Morning, John.
Yeah, good morning, Art. My name is Roswell.
Good morning, yeah. I think I'm on the East Coast, but
Yeah, that's the great to talk to you.
I can talk to you too. That's what you started for a second.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. And I went to report that and I just put a 9-drawer the one bedroom. I come back to the room and I couldn't open the door. And the dresser slid in front of the door, pushed it open.
The dresser slid in front of there. Was somebody in the room or no?
No, no one was in the room.
A 9-drawer dresser. That's right.
Yeah,
Moved itself.
yeah. And I thought my son was in the room doing something, you know. And I turn around and I'm powering through the door. It's open. It's like, well, we're getting this in there. And then he comes in from the door with another box of flour. You know, I go, well, who's in here? So anyway, I had to pry the door and slide that dresser out of the way, get back into the room that was empty. Yeah, well, that's what I thought. And, I mean, me and my wife sat down and had a cup of coffee and like, you know, you just bought the house, what do you do? You know,
I'll tell you what, I buy from the realtor.
No, I was a realtor. The guy that had lived there before, he had never said anything about the house. I mean, I worked with him. And it was a very strange thing. And my dog would never go in that room. And we sat there and decided, well, this is pretty strange. So she said, well, it's going to be my daughter's bedroom. She said, that's going to be your poker room then. And so I moved my dresser, the daughter into the other room. So all I put in there was my poker table and stereo. You know?
How did that do?
Not real well,
Well, I love this story because it's impossible.
you know, did this really just happen? Did I have to provide a little bit to get in here? No, it's
possible. Yes, it's possible.
any other way.
I really appreciate your story. That's 2 stories in a row.
I had moved back to Iowa, but Dad had Alzheimer's, and I was driving down the street, and I had an open house. I told my girlfriend, I said, you know, I used to own this place, and so let's go and take a walk, you know, and I'm talking to the realtor, and I didn't want to check it was a little under the counter kitchen like that. I just wondered if it was the place, and it was still there. But I talked to the realtor, and he said, that house is old 7 times. And so nobody ever stayed 3 blocks, and nobody would walk up the door.
You tell the builder about
Yeah,
the show me.
yeah, she said, I don't want to hear it anymore. She said, I gotta be here all afternoon.
I understand. And you know what? Despite the law, the house is haunted. Given to bed, sold. Or it's hotel times.
And I don't like anybody else. This was, say, I bought it in, I think it was 82, and then I left in 83, moved across the plant, and I moved back there in 2005, so it sold 7 or 8 times between them. I don't know, very strange stories.
All right, thank you very much, my friend. And second one in a row of this things being moved without human interaction, or things being moved by spirit. Vehicle started, goes, probably on the same vehicle, and now a real possibility. It's not sure if we something like that. I mean, after all, everybody had moved that nine-door dresser up to the door and locked it. They would then have to still be in that room that was sailing through a window. And he said his son was still outside. So that means something that we don't understand. And I guess the message would be, obviously mom understood that message, even though she did not allow the daughter into it. Jason in Louisiana, hi there, and thank you for coming on the air.
Well, everyone.
I just want a ghost story for us, I take it.
Yeah, this was a story about when my wife and I were newlyweds, and as newlyweds kind of do around that time, and work with their parents, once a week or so. And my wife said she would move in my pajamas, and but 3 minutes later, she came back and she said, "I can't believe what's happening outside the home." And yeah, we were showing I'm glad to know that you're in video games and playing around. And that's frustrating her.
You're already like a husband. You're already like a husband of about 10 years. Newlywed jumps out down the water.
She was a little frustrated, and it wasn't until the next day that I was really with her and told me what happened. Apparently, on the ride home, she had just left her mom's home, and she called it something that you get when you're getting watched. And she looked off to her left, and she saw the classic shadow figure staring at her. And
This was when she was driving?
yes, sir.
And this shadow person or whatever was moving by itself and keeping pace?
No, it was standing behind a sapling, which she thought she saw a tree out of the corner of her eye. When she looked, there was a sapling, and the shadow figure was behind it, standing behind it. As she drove past, its head followed her. She got the chill, and she picked up. She got up a little bit down the neighborhood, and as she made her way to the neighborhood, the lights, everyone knew where the creature was, started going out one at a time. Like to reach her, she stopped, and a flash of fight or flight kicked in, and she went back. She was angry. She was scared, and she was angry. So she threw her, and she rushed to the point where the creature was, and nothing was there. It was just a sapling. She had a cold sweat, and she was just sitting there, and the car was idling, and all the lights turned on at once. And
Well, you sure have a wife with problems. Let me tell you. Yeah, that's right. I would not have gone back. There's no so
she was take it on the first time. She was a tough cookie. I'm not going to do that in public. She would get on back.
all right, my friend. Thank you for the story. Yeah, no, thank you. So I guess I insert myself into the stories as I hear them, and it's like, oh, I do. It would be down if you see the shadow behind her. You see the head pop up, the head follows, and the lights start going out. Would I go back? Being honest with you, no. I would not go back. So, we go home. Down to Texas and Chris. Hey, Chris. Thank you, sir.
Do I have to finally get out of the barbecues and I heard you talking about the waters?
That's home.
Yes, I've been a fan ever since.
The story goes that Mel sold his home. Sold his home to the government and moved to Australia, where he's living presumably happily ever after, but actually, anyway, proceed.
Yes, sir. 25 years ago, I was a brand new border patrol agent. We had more trainees than journeymen. So they would sit two trainees together and say, go do your job. And usual shift, so there might be 4 people working. We had 2 guys upriver, myself, a partner downriver. Very little experience between the 2 of us.
What would you, I hate this, but I have to know some things. As a border patrol agent, started with very little training. So it's like when they send you to the Rio Grande, they send you down to the Rio Grande and they say, watch.
It was very experience in that training. I misspoke that. We had just gotten from the academy, but neither of us had a half a year. So they send us down, they tell us to go fight crime midnight. So we're driving down the river looking for anything that we could see that didn't look right. Not really knowing what we're doing, but trying to get up the experience. We see a bonfire out on this hill that we used to refer to as the party house. It was, at the time, it was out of town quite a ways. The town was almost in town. And we drove towards it thinking, oh, maybe somebody down there, maybe some smoke. And at the time, we had switches that we could throw that would turn all the lights off the vehicle. But you hit the brakes or backup light, nothing would come on. It wouldn't show where the vehicle was. So we turned out all the lights. We're driving down this long dirt road towards the river. And we come around the corner. There's about 15 or 20 people standing in a huge circle around a giant bonfire. They're all wearing brown full-length robes. They got their hands up in the air, like they're doing some kind of religious ceremony. Yes. I saw a movie called Race with the Devil with Peter Fonda and Warren several years before this. And that movie came to mind. I looked at these people just in time to see 2 of them come towards us and start running at us in a, not in an aggressive manner, but like we didn't have any business in their little ritual.
Oh, I don't know. It was on, this is on the US side.
Yes, sir. That's what you're talking about.
Gotcha. And 2 of them start running toward you. And you were, I'm sure, 2 armed.
Oh, yes. But they were armed in Race with the Devil, too. Well,
So what do you guys, you 2 armed guys do?
I looked at my partner, he looked at me, and threw it reverse, and I hit again. I said, I don't see any immigration violations happening here. I went backwards, no light. I made a 90-degree return, and I didn't slow down until I hit my arm.
You were all right.
Once we hit the highway, we're trying to decide what to do because our nearest backer was a good 20, 30 minutes away. There's one sheriff deputy and he's way the heck out of town. Who would you report this to? He didn't remember this was the county.
Local law enforcement? I don't know.
Well, we're out of town. We were in the county. And like I said, there was one deputy working and he was way the heck out of town. And we discussed it the rest of the night. Who should we report this to? And we could not come to a conclusion. So
Where are they necessarily breaking the law, really?
none that I can see.
God's law.
But we decided we just weren't going to tell anybody. And we're going to try and pretend like it never happened.
I don't blame you at all.
We managed to keep our mouths shut for about a good 20 years. Well, finally, about 3 or 4 years ago, I was invited to tell my story on the other show. And unfortunately, the night that they called the house for me to talk, I had a schedule change. I had to work that night.
We hear that you have the story.
Yeah, okay. But it really upset me because I listened to that show, like I said, with Donald Sullivan. So a couple of weeks go by, and I'm teaching a class. I mentioned to the class that all this based on the radio. I told them the story about what had happened to me and my partner, and how it would have been to tell people I've been to tell my story in the entire United States and parts of the planet. And one of the students said, hey, a couple of years ago, I was driving around Alabama River and I came across the exact same situation. And so apparently, whoever these people are, there's Jim out there who's still doing their little ritual. And I have no idea who they are or what they're doing.
And this person, this student, what did he do?
Exact same thing.
As you did. And as I would have done as well. I really, really appreciate your telling the story on Real Radio.
It was an exciting event.
Thank you, my friend. Take care. Glad you came by tonight. What's the matter? I really hope this love story. What do you suppose it was? Probably but also probably not people that you would want to harm or not. Ben in California. Hi, Ben.
Hey, is it me?
It is you, Ben.
Hey, Oswald. I've actually called in and told you my ghost story before. But I got one more story I haven't told you.
You've told me those stories before.
I called in my own line tonight. I was together and physically assaulted by ghosts.
Okay.
But I've got one story that I don't know if it's ghost or not, but it definitely qualifies as spooky. I'm living in Eastern Kentucky, growing up on this haunted hill. And beside the neighborhood there is a dirt road. It's a gas road. There's gas wells out there. And this is where we rode on our dirt bikes and four-wheelers and everything like that. So, nobody ever walks out there, but I didn't have any gas in my dirt bike one day, so I decided to take a walk out there. I'm about 15 years old, I'm a freshman in high school. And I'm walking back, I've got my machete on my side, I'm looking for snakes and whatnot, I'm looking for deer. And I'm looking around, and suddenly there's standing in front. And this is a straight stretch of, I would say, 200-300 yards. And suddenly they're about 20 feet in front of him. So I tell them, well, you scared the animal out of me. And one of the men says, well, I'm sorry. And they walk up to me. And they ask me questions like, how did you get out of here? And I told them, well, I just live half a mile from here. And they said, they're just very confused. They say, how did you get past the gate? I told them, there isn't no gate. There used to be a gate there, but it had been ripped out a couple years ago. And if you want to stop the entrance for miles, this road runs for miles and miles, and a few miles the other way, there's another entrance, and it doesn't have a gate either. So anyway, that's a real good question. The direction they're coming from, they're coming from the direction of my house. There's only one way in, one way out. And I'm thinking this should know there's not a gate there. So anyway, this whole time I'm talking to them, I'm really freaked out. They're staring directly at my eyes, and they're not looking anywhere else. I'm listening to my house. I say I'm out here with my machete, and I'm looking for snakes. They don't look at my machete, they're looking at my eyes.
Concerned with your machete, I'm not here with my machete. That's someone's down in life.
Yeah, I think so. And it's slightly interested. But only one of them is talking to me, but both of them are looking directly in my eyes. And so anyway, I'm freaked out. Well, I gotta go. I never really see anybody out there unless they're riding a motorcycle or maybe a third bike or four. But I'll start walking back towards my house and we cross paths. And of course I'm scared and nervous. And within a few feet, I take a few steps and I turn around. They're not there.
As in disappeared.
They are gone.
Well, maybe they vanished back into a time when there was a key.
Yeah, say that I have been there a couple of years. And I don't really know what that was about. But I start walking fast. I'm really nervous now. You know, my heart's racing. I'm thinking. And I'm walking fast. And I turn back. They're still not there. There's nowhere to go. But they're not there. So I'm convinced that something bad like happened. So I'm running back to my house. And I reached the road again, and there's not a work there, there's nothing there. So I make it home, I run to the house, I swing the door, lock the door, shut them off. Somebody, you know, do me or trying to kill me. And I got freaked out for the rest of the day. So, but I didn't tell the story because I didn't know if it was a ghost story or not, but it was.
Well, it's it is. All right, thank you very much. It's I'm not sure what to call that story. But these odd things. And I understand that sometimes you don't say it was a ghost. Like my guest actually asked about the game that had been there in a long time, very, very way. And I'm guessing they went back to whatever it was, time-wise, he was there.
Roswell.
Thank you.
And I hope Adrian comes back with the whole sack full of goodies for Daddy.
Oh, she will, and she'll hide him forever.
That's when you get your daddy experiences, and sure you know what this cat died.
Well, usually, she knows I grabbed the human being and went around the house, so they were chasing me. I thought you usually would have done. Anyway, have a story.
Yes, sir, I do. Picture, you're a collections officer. Working a midnight shift, and at the beginning of each shift, which one is free, you send the officers out to do an external perimeter check with the sensors on that, make sure everything where it's supposed to be and working.
I don't need any names, but I mean, this is it's like a prison or a jail or
It's a state institution.
jail.
Different times we was, generally we run population of about 2350
Oh, okay.
every year time. And I was on sergeant, my officers automatically on under duty showing me external perimeter check, internal perimeter check.
Sure.
And the internal perimeter check not only included the inside, but also making sure that the doors and windows and everything was secured on the building. And part of the institution was handed over on the Parkland Mountain Hill. And this one particular building, which was right across a service road from another old, building that had inmates in it. The building in question did not, it was uninhabited. And down on the basement level, there was still there, an extremely heavy steel fire door. And there's about at least twice a week, for about 6 weeks, we would find this door open. Fire door. And
Did an alarm go off?
there's no alarm, just the thing was built 1910.
Okay, gotcha.
And my officer that was doing the inspection reported to me that on his door open. and these are all deadbolt. And so we find doors open, not real frequent, but, from time to time, somebody will leave the building, on the evening shift, they have class or something in there, and, to secure the door. But that building nothing was going on in here. And the problem is that to secure this door, no personnel whatsoever inside our perimeter has a key to that door. You have to go to the communication room where we issue keys and our radios and give us one specific key with the authorization of the ship commander. And you had
So, again, this door is normally always deadbolt.
yes. He had keys to all the other doors in that building except that one particular door. Nobody inside the perimeter had that key. So I had to get authorization from the captain to get the key in writing. And actually, he wanted to know why. To keep the sergeant category, keep his, keep him out of trouble. I just told the captain I wanted to do a security check. Got it. We went in, and 4 my officers, we went in, I know the inspection, and we secured and we secured the door. And I was back to the captain, no results, everything's fine. And then the next day when I come in, I talked to the sergeant that was in charge on the evening shift. And he said, did you put it in writing? No, I don't think there's any need for that. I ended up sending a bunch of other people involved in this. And so he said, okay, appreciate it. But on the evening shift, they don't do inspectors. And one of them was right around 10 o'clock at night, while everybody else is performing on calendar. And they go around and do their same inspections when they come on set. This went on for about 6 weeks. And we kept.
You're saying the store was open every night?
At least twice a week.
At least twice a week.
And I still have to go up there and all the captains get authorization. But by this, I put up 3 or 4 weeks, he started getting a little curious and go, why you want to go in there? Because I got keys to every other door in that building and inside the building. So after about 6 weeks, it was getting pretty old, and we made my 4 officers, we went in, our inspection. Well, this time we got the called an emergency camera. And this is about 3 o'clock in the morning. And while they're counting, we're going in there and looking around, didn't find anything. Secured the door. And as we were leaving, we're going down a little service road in between these 2 buildings. And not a whole lot of light back in that area. A few security lights on the buildings. The main lights are from the perimeter, lights around the fence. And I happened to turn around and looked up on the second floor window at the end of the lane. And I see a little girl about 8, 15 years old, blonde hair. And I just told my other officers, sure. So I said, what do you see? And all their jaws went slack and their eyes got about big as silver dollars. I said, what did you see? Did you see a little girl? And I went, uh-huh. And about that time, she raised up her right hand and waved at us. And never seen her again. Never had any more problems with that door. Needless to say, that did not go on our reports.
I wonder what her connection to that weird was. Maybe
There was an old health building. But part of our institution, especially on we had two sides. And the side that I was on, we had about half a dozen of these old mental health buildings. You know, like I say, built around 1910, 1908.
maybe she had a dad or a mom that didn't hear that building.
But there was children there too.
Children too?
Yeah.
Wow.
A few of my officers worked in there for mental health when it was still in operation. And
all right. Well, you've given us, thank you very much, another story of, in my opinion, something that's been something physical that has been manipulated by something else. All the stories that we've had so far virtually have involved things physical, moved by things. 6 weeks of a deadbolt opening? Well, I guess we'll just have to all wonder what's up with that. New York, back to New York and Franklin. Hello. Just wanted to have
the story takes place with my best we need to work for about 2 years. And I have more people needing to move back to Brooklyn. We had a talked about everything, and I'm laying in bed and I feel someone above me just looking at me. And I'm like, in my head, I'm saying to myself, all right, if you're there, you might not want to be there when I open my eyes. And I'm just kind of joking, you know. I'm not thinking anything of it. As soon as I say this to myself, I feel a gust of wind shoot to my left. Now I open my eyes and I sit up immediately. I'm like, what is this? I look over, and there is a man in our doorway, colonial dress, long, stringy hair, bifocals, like a tall, thin Benjamin Franklin, okay? Right. Now, the man is illuminated. The only light that we have in our apartment is the bathroom door behind him. That's slightly ajar. He is producing his own light, but his light doesn't reflect onto my door, my floor, my wall, nothing. All right? And he's slightly translucent because I can kind of see the bathroom light through it. Now, this man is looking at us with curiosity. No malice, no nothing. I'm just staring at him with curiosity. I touch my girlfriend, and she wakes up, and she looks at the door, and she says, who's the man in white who's the man in white at the door? At that point, I really get freaked out because it was like confirmation. I turn to her, she goes back to sleep. I turn to him, and he's gone. Oof. Yeah, I wake her up. She tells me exactly what she saw, was exactly what I saw. She goes back to sleep. I cannot go back to sleep for the rest of the night.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so very much for that story. Now, isn't that interesting? In other words, it may well be that many times the apparition, or ghost, if you will, is every bit as surprised at being in another place or time than it was used to. So it is as absolutely curious, perhaps even terrified, as you are. And I wonder what that says about the other side. The mixing of that side and this side on some occasions. It may well be that they have absolutely no more of an idea than you do about it. Let's go to Minnesota and Allison. Hi, Allison.
Well, good evening, Art, and happy Halloween.
Thank you.
Well, my story does, well, I have a story that actually does involve things being moved without me moving them. But the story that I believe you are most intrigued in is my story of the time I saw a shadow person. And this story goes back about 15 years. I was 9, 10 years old at the time. And I was downstairs. We lived in my grandma's house at the time, and we lived in her basement. And this particular night, my mom had left to go grocery shopping, but my bedroom was in the basement right next to the stairwell. So the only way to get in and out of the basement is on these very, very creepy stairs. If anyone were to come downstairs, including our very fat cat, I would know about it. So I'm reading my book for school that night, and I'm sitting on my bed, and the setup of this basement was very odd. My room had 2 doors, one that went to the stairwell, and then another one that went into a very odd one bathroom. It was connected on the other side of this bathroom to our living room. And right by the doorway to the living room, there's a desk. And my mom had a light on that. She left it on for me so that I didn't get scared while she was gone, even though my grandma was upstairs watching TV. So I'm reading this book, and the way I'm sitting on my bed, I can see through the bathroom and like into the living room. I can see the light is pretty much framed by a little slit in the door that I can see through. And I don't know what compelled me to look out, but I look up over my book into the living room. And as I do so, a 6.5 to 7 foot tall, pitch black shadow. I could see the only definition it had was I could see shoulders, I could see a head, and I could see that it was wearing a bowler hat of all things. And it didn't bob up and down as people do when they walk. It glided behind the desk from the living room to my mom's room, and it's gone. And I calmly threw my book across the room, opened the door to the stairwell, and ran upstairs and told my grandma. And she, of course, was believing me all that story. But this house, only my mom and I had just handfuls of experiences in this house. So she believed me when I got home. So the part that scared me the most about that shadow person is that it had to have walked a foot or two behind this lamp that was very bright. And it did not cast a shadow on the back wall behind it. It did not have any light reflect off it. It was like a cutout of reality. There was just
Yes, and this entity, you were seeing it full on, straight on with vision, right? Not peripheral vision, straight on.
Absolutely straight on. I watched it go by and sat there and realized I had seen for a second before I turned pale and ran. There was really no balance to anything that happened in that house. It actually, in a weird way, helped me out one time. But it's such an abnormal thing to see. I just couldn't deal with it. I ran away.
Oh, I would too. Mine coming out. All right, well, listen, thank you for the story. It's a good one.
You're very welcome.
Take care. Thank you. Anyhow, I mean, I'm being honest with you. If I saw a creature like that, I don't know about you. Perhaps all the rest of you are considering along with me. What if I saw a creature like that? So-called shadow person straight on, and then it floated across the room? I would be so gone. Let's go to Andrew all the way down in Melbourne, Australia. Hello, Andy.
Hi,
Quite well, and I presume you have a ghost story.
I do. It's the story involves my daughter's imaginary friend. For a number of years, my daughter had an imaginary friend that she described as a tall old man that she named Roger. It was one of those textbook imaginary friends where she would talk with him, play with him, have tea parties with him, and sometimes even blame him for things. And my wife and I would fully see her have conversations with like an unseen person. And my wife did research, and she just chalked it up to an overactive imagination. For my daughter at the time was an only child, and we basically thought the behaviour was perfectly normal and age appropriate.
You know what though? It's still creepy if you watch a child talking to somebody that's not there, and even apparently getting answers. It's pretty creepy.
It's very creepy, and so my wife thought it was normal, but me having graduated from the Art Bell School of Ghost to Ghost and other paranormal shows, I always suspected that she may have been talking to a ghost. Having said that, we never had any paranormal activity in the house. We never saw apparitions or disembodied voices or red eyes in the closet. None of that. One thing happened that did freak me out. One day my daughter told me that Roger didn't like me. And that sort of made the hair on the back of my neck sort of stand up. And I said to her, well, why doesn't Roger like me? I'm a very likable guy. And she said, Roger doesn't like it when you throw cigarettes in his garden. And my daughter did not know that I smoked cigarettes when she was born. I sort of cut down. I would only smoke when I was at work or late at night when she was in bed. I would go outside, light up, have my cigarette, and then throw it up in the garden. And I guess Roger wasn't very fond of my habits.
Oh, Andy, that's so creepy.
It is.
All right. Thank you very, very much. That is a creepy story. It really is. Can you imagine being told not to do something? To Sam in Texas on Skype. Hey, good evening. Okay, I have a ghost story for you. I recently moved out to my family farm in East Texas, and as part of that, I joined the volunteer fire department out here. And it led around to me showing up at a meeting on Thursday, getting voted in, and they sent me home with a radio and pager. Well, on Saturday night, 2 days later, the pager goes off. And I'm the first one to the station. The chief and I take a truck out for this accident. It's a rollover. The car has died, but the radio's playing. And I walk up, look in, there's a guy crumpled up in the passenger seat of the car. It's really outside. He's dead. And, we were there for an hour. We had to wait for the police to come out with their investigation and the coroner and so forth. We cut the roof off of the truck, and he fell out, and a couple of beer cans came out, so he was drinking. There were people behind him. There was one that fast, kind of swerved off the road and smacked into a tree and cost him his life. Right? But, when I was there, I could kind of sense that he was around. He was still there. Like, I could feel him, and I remember feeling sorry for him. Like, this guy didn't know that his life was coming to an end. It was this one, That's right. But you sensed he was still right there. Yeah, I would look over across the road a little ways back from the accident, and I didn't see him, I didn't hear anything, but I could feel that. I think this guy's standing there just looking at everything going on in bewilderment, and I felt like all of the other officers probably looked down on this guy because he was drinking and lost his fatal accident. So we wrap up there, go back to the fire station, I drive my car back to the farm, which usually has other family members on it, but they were all in Dallas. They were on the family event. And I get back to my house, and I can feel this guy with me. So I think he followed me home from the accident. Maybe he sensed that you identified with him in a positive way. You felt sorry. I think he could maybe hear my thoughts or feel my emotions or somehow was perceptive to that. Sure. But it freaked me out. I was scared half to death because this guy is here following me home, and I don't know how to help him. Eventually, I said that out loud. I don't know how to help you. I'm sorry. And this went on for about 30 minutes, and I remember thinking, I wish my mom was here or somebody else was here on the farm. And I thought about them all being in Dallas. Right. And eventually, it went away. About 30 minutes after that, I got a phone call from my mom, and she said her aunt heard the phone ringing, brought the phone into her, and she called me back. This was like at 1 a.m. And she said, hey, you just called. I was calling back. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't make any phone call. What's the number? Well, the number she gave me was my cell phone. And I just moved out here, and my cell phone gets bars. It says no service on it. Oh, they replaced the call, and the landline from the house was out of long distance, and her number was a Dallas number, so there's no way I could have called her. And I said, okay, well, I'll call you back. And I called her, and she said, hey, you just called. I was calling back. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't make any phone call. What's the number? Well, the number she gave me was my cell phone. And I just moved out here, and my cell phone gets bars. It says no service on it. Oh, they replaced the call, and the landline from the house was out of long distance, and her number was a Dallas number, so there's no way I could have called her. Oh, so I think this guy or the guardian angels that took you away or whatever sort of placed this call to the deities. That's a cool story. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yes, of course it is. Thank you so very much. See, these things, they do happen. That one from Texas, and I so appreciate it. I think that the dead, it is my firm belief that the recently dead do not depart by the way. They're still there for a while. Not a long time, perhaps days, perhaps hours, perhaps days. But I firmly believe. Let's move to, let's see, let's move to Colorado and Francisco. Hello there.
Hi, how you doing, Art?
Very well, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm going to start off. My story starts off, met a friend in high school. I guess, kind of a uptight religious school.
Right.
They would teach us, Bible verses, we would go to Bible classes, none of that. I mean, I was already, born and raised in the church. However, he really was, he was there for other reasons. And I tried to, talk to him about religion from time to time and kind of blew it off. He was like, well, why don't you come with me over to my house? He's like, this is what my mom and I try to do in our separate time. So we go over there, and it was a real nice house, well ornate, all collectible kinds of items. And one of the items that she has in this big open garden room area is a Ouija board. So, convinced me, which going against everything that my mom and folks don't do, we mess with that stuff because something could attach to you, it could follow you back if you want to, just leave it alone. Well, you're a teenager, I was like, let me try it. So we gave it a shot, and got some interesting responses. And I was like, okay, let's try it. So fast forward now, we're in our late 20s. I'm in school, and actually, I had just left college to move back in with my mom to help her with my grandmother. She was suffering dementia at the time. And my friend called us up around maybe 3:30 in the morning, December, so cold, and I could just hear in the other room. He was just crying hysterically, and I'm going to get up, kind of, confused in a day, asking, what's going on. And she said, she needs our help. We need to go to the house now. Grab your thing, let's go. He lived, a few miles away. We get to his house, and he's standing outside, with no shoes on, with just another shirt and a pair of jeans. And we get in the car, starts crying again. Just shaking uncontrollably, probably from being cold and getting scared. And so we start to calm down. We asked him, what's going on? What happened in there? And he said, I came home, hanging out with some friends. He's like, I smell this awful smell, almost like sulfur. He's like, I think mine sort of looked around the house. He's like, I came to my living room that I've seen a man sitting on my couch. The man was very, I guess in his terms, he said the man was very good looking, very well kept. My friend had a dog, a Rottweiler, and this Rottweiler, instead of barking and going crazy, wanting to attack this guy, sat right next to the man. The man kind of just was stroking the dog. He said when he looked at his eyes were great. There was no pupil, there was no white, that they were just completely grayed over. And I don't know if there was some type of, there was no verbal communication, he said, but the look, maybe, it's not his words, but maybe some type of the thought. So his thoughts were being read by this being. He said he just felt like his soul was being taken from him, and that this you that I have you right where I want you. When we had got to the house, like I said, he had already, in order for him to have gotten out of the house, it should have been going a little bit better. He had to break the window out of his bedroom. So we just, my mom and I are like, we have a key to get back in. The sun starting to come up, like, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And, well, like, we really don't want to go in there, but let's go in there. We finally make our way to his house, and the house is a wreck. Cupboards are basically torn off hinges. Food and displays are scattered all over the kitchen floor. There was even dog vomit in the living room, in multiple areas of the house.
Sounds awful. Yeah.
Like I said, I was born and raised in the church, and nowadays, many people, they want to recognize they're good and not also there's evil out there. It certainly opened my eyes to it, because seeing what I saw, what I sensed, and just the atmosphere was heavy. That was walking in that house, and just knowing that, why would my friend go to the street to break a window in order to get out of his own home? And
It was terrifying.
yeah, he truly was.
Absolutely terrifying. Did he say anything about how everything got broken?
No, he said once he felt that whatever I was explaining, he felt like just a part of his soul was just being taken by his enemy. And he still to this day calls that bit was the devil. But he said once he started feeling the awful feeling, he rushed to the front door. The door wouldn't budge. It wouldn't open, nothing. So that's why he decided to break out his bedroom window. It was everyone who I told this story after that, or familiar with my friends, they were shaking. I mean, it just terrified to think like, that is something else. So we had that same day, we called some priests over to come and bless the house. And even the priests were, they had a look to them that maybe there really was something here that we can't explain. And during prayer, my friend, the one who went through all this, he straight fainted on the floor. So I don't know if it was a possession, and he was making a let's just say, whatever happened, something happened.
Well, thank you very much. I don't think anybody makes up breaking out a window of your own house. Not for a second. The rest of it, I don't know, as he said. But if you thought that you were sitting across from death, and that death had come for you, same thing. Zach, somewhere or another on Skype. Hello. Hi, Eric. Hi. Where are you? I'm sorry, Zach. Where are you? Oh, I'm in Oakville, Canada. Canada. Okay. Very good.
So I've got a story that happened last year. My uncle was staying with us here at my house, and we were talking one night, and we talked about all these horrible dreams he was having. And I mentioned it the next day, my friend who likes to dabble in the occult, and he suggested to me that we do a banishing ritual, whereby he would summon the negative energies and banish them from Marco's life, and that's why one that was in my house, right? So I mentioned this to my uncle after I talked to him, he was down for it. So the next day, my friend comes over, and what he did is he set up 4 candles in the north, east, west, and south corners of the house. And he went outside, we've got a walk-in basement, so he was under my deck, doing whatever he had to do for the ritual. Meanwhile, my uncle and I are sitting in a living room. We were just told by my friend to sit there in silence and just sort of, I guess, ponder life, right? And not that long after it began, I got paranoid because I couldn't see all the candles, so I was concerned, one of them might catch fire or something. So I walked around the house periodically to check in on them. And I did a round and everything was fine. And I come back to the room and the candle that was in the south side of the house where we were sitting started making this pinging sound. Just kept going ping, 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 and it would stop. My uncle and I, my uncle and I look at each other and we said, "Did you hear that?" My uncle says, "Oh yeah, I heard that." And then a couple minutes later, it goes ping, ping, ping again. And I said, "Oh, what's going on?" So I go check on the other candles, everything was fine. I get back, and also within our range of vision is the candle to the east. And the fire jumped from the wick to the case that the candle was sitting in. So I said, oh, I mean, I'm excited, so I don't care what the search light gotta, blow this out. So I managed to blow up the fire around the rim of the candle case and I kept the wick going. And again, I think, oh, what's going on now? Is it the rest of them? So I go and I check the candle on the west side of the house, and just as I get in, the fire jumps out of the candle and onto the dryer where it was resting.
Oh my God.
And I blow that out, and as soon as I'm panicking. My friend comes upstairs and says the ritual's over. And I tell him everything that I just told you. He says, well, begin the ritual. I have to summon the energies from the east. So that's why the fire might have jumped. And then I banished them to the west, and that's why I jumped again. And I said, well, what about the south? And he said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, it pinged several times, and it did it throughout the hour. So you originally said, well, I have no idea why it did that.
Oh, that's weird stuff. I guess lucky that everything didn't burn.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good news in the sense that after he did the banishing ritual, my uncle stopped having all the nightmares.
Well, that is a good thing, but wow, what a story. Thank you very much. Plus, candles, pinging, really. California brings Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Roswell, Mark, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great. Yeah, so I have kind of a crazy story for you. I'm 33 now, and about 10, 12 years ago, in college, when I was about 20, I moved into a house with 3 other roommates, and it was about 2 blocks from campus, the University of Arizona, and it was built for the Tucson Electric Power Company president. So we move in and everything's fine, but then within a week, a whole bunch of weird things start happening. Literally the electricity would go off and you would have to walk around and go to the breaker outside the house to turn the electricity back on in the house. And we had, over the course of the year that I lived there, we had 3 or 4 different electricians come out to check out to see what was wrong with it. And everybody said that it was fine. So there was strange electric stuff that I would always happen. One time I was using a regular can opener, and the electric can opener actually started to go off by itself. But one of the really key things was that we didn't have cable because we were 4 college students. And I knew that my roommates were at home one day, and I wanted things to roll back. So we go back to that place, and when we get there, I say, hey, let's watch a movie. And so I turn on the TV, and there's that strategy, that smell that you have when you don't have cable. And suddenly there's this bang on the other side of the house, and it sounds like dishes crash. And she says, what was that? And I said, I don't know, but I swear there's something really weird in this house. It's haunted. And suddenly from the TV, through the smell of the static on TV, it said, no, there's no ghost here.
Well, that's not so, well, it is unusual, but I mean, a lot of times, voices and things are heard from white noise, and that's what you had on your TV, was white noise, so.
Well, it was so creepy. I turned off the TV, and I looked at her, and I said, did you hear that? And she said, yes. And I said, well,
here, and we ran out of the house, freaking out. But another thing that actually happened.
That, my friend, was an EVP answer.
Yeah, so I was filming. We had a party one night, and I was going around filming using night vision in the house. And I go up to my friend Gentry and just ask him, "Hey, how you doing?" And he says, "Oh, good, whatever." The next day when I'm watching the tape, and we go and all of us are watching the tape the next day, the party the night before. And suddenly it goes into his room and I say, "Hey, how you doing?" And it was the most demonic sound I was capturing on this tape, right? When he said hi, it was like this, just this horrible, horrific sound. And the weirdest part about that is that it's been years since all that happened. And for some reason, about a month ago, I was driving with my girlfriend, and it was 11 o'clock at night, and that story kind of, for some reason, I just remembered it like that. And I asked her if she believes in ghosts, and I told her the story, and I had to record this EVP with my friend Gentry. And I thought to myself, man, I need to call him. I haven't talked to him in a few months, so it's okay. And the next day, I got a phone call that Gentry was in a coma. And unfortunately, about 3 days later, he passed away. But the odd thing about that was I just remember that story like randomly. And I asked my friend Emily, when did he, slip into the coma? And she said it was about 11 o'clock on that Saturday night, which was literally, I think it was like 11:15 that I was telling my girlfriend that story. So I don't know if there was some sort of like reach out or connection or something, but it was just something that really kind of like touched me and freaked me out a little bit.
Oh, I heard maybe you should go into the field of EVP investigation.
I'd rather not. Rather leave that be.
Okay, thank you very, very much for the call. That's a completely uninvited EVP television, just playing white noise in the background. It is the ideal medium for EVP. You know that? The ideal medium. All right, let's go to Texas and Roland. Hi.
Hello, Mr. Bell.
It is.
Well, I recognize your voice. Nice talking to you. So here's my thanks.
You bet.
I have an experience. It's not a story. This happened to me, so it's very, very disturbing and upsetting. But happened in one of my dreams that came to me, and I was asleep at the time I was living in West Virginia 10 years ago or so. And in my dream, I woke up and I was in a unknown city to me anyway, because it was kind of New York, but you kind of style, a lot of people downtown, going to work, all dressed up in suits.
You're saying you, in essence, woke up in a strange city.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
And in my dream, I'm climbing the stairs to go up to like a high-rise building, and I'm not exactly how high it was, but I think it's 20, 30, 40 stories.
Right.
And people are in big cities like that, they go by you in my face section. So I'm really not sure what I'm doing yet, but I know I have to walk up, and I can't touch anything. So for whatever reason, so I'm being pulled for.
Okay.
So I get to the elevator, and one of them just, there's a bank of elevators, and those things that we have 3 or 4 on one side and 3 or 4 on the other side. So I'm looking at good, half a dozen elevators. So I'm standing in front of one of them, and the doors open up, and a bunch of people rush in and the same briefcase and personal stuff, and he started to cry for me. So I think I touched this one. I wasn't any particular area. So I went to the next one. So that one opens up, and the doors open up, and there's no one coming out, and there's really not a crowd any longer. I'm being the only one when you get in, so the doors open up. So I notice, I guess, what you call an elevator operator. And he's standing up over there, and he's dressed very sharply, nice vest, and very trimmed up, and very professional looking.
Yes.
But he had this sense or an aura about him that wasn't natural. So before I actually stepped in, the door was wide open, he's standing there with his kind of holding his hands and looking at you and smiling, And I picked up right away, you know, who he was, and I got the feeling that he was the Satan himself. And
Now this is all in a dream, right?
yes, so
Okay, so as opposed to an actual ghost encounter, this is a dream, or did it manifest in real life?
no, it's been manifested in real life, but this is how it started. So this is the reason I say that when the doors opened up, and I had this sort of a fear of actually stepping into it. So I stood there still on the outside of it, the doors open. And he kind of just asked me, well, are you getting in or not?
Right.
And I go, well, am I going up or am I going down? And I asked him if basically about going to the
In other words, you're in a dream, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. So, you know, but I haven't seen that it was a lot of good choices here right away. So I was very happy with that feeling. I was going up from there down to there, you know, I had to see that maybe I had time in my sleep.
That's all right, please.
So then he just looked at me and goes, well, it's not a whole lot of things for you. So, and then that's kind of like, why do it? And I was sweating, and you know, it's been a question for me ever since. I don't know what it means.
All right. Well, what it means is probably since you made no choice at all, it's purgatory for you. I don't know. That's a strange one. But it was a dream. Now, to Anthony on Skype. Hello, Anthony.
Hi, how are you?
Very well. Where are you, Anthony?
I'm in Stillwater, Minnesota, about 15 minutes outside of Minneapolis.
Well, all right. You have a good ghost story, I hope.
You know, I do, but I'll tell you what. My wife had sent in part of the story to the wormhole to you.
Yes.
And what I want to do is, if she can tell us so much better than I can, it's really a phenomenal story. So obviously, if I need you to spell it to me.
Okay, you're breaking up on me a little bit. You're going to put it on the phone. Is that what you're going to do?
That's right.
All right. Let's have it.
All right, here's Stella.
Stella.
Hello.
Hey, Stella. Hi there.
Hi. Roswell's.
Roswell's. Thank you.
So our ghost story, we live in a house in historic Stillwater, Minnesota, built in 1860 something. And we have pretty much had some occurrences since moved in here 2 years ago in April. It started with whistling, like kind of muffled whistling, not wind or pipes or anything. Believe me, I know what those sound like. It was somebody whistling a tune, and then I would start to hear like old record music playing, and I went outside to see if some kid was sitting outside out front, lost in their car stereo, and nobody inside. It was only from the house. And then things started to escalate more and more. There would be sounds of like a glass sitting down on the table. There'd be no one home. And I was out front of our home, and there was no one inside, and I heard a knock coming from the inside of the front door. So I was a little afraid to go back inside the house at that moment. Things escalated more and more after that. Knives, like kitchen knives, would fly off of the table in the kitchen, and we had hardwood floors. And yes, and it wouldn't just fall down flat, point down and stabbed into the floor inches away from my husband several times. He's fortunate that he hopped out of the way quickly.
This is where I begin to think about moving.
Yes, we actually have been talking to real estate agents, friends, anybody looking for another house to live in.
I've seen that in movies where knives slowly pull out of the holder and sometimes hit through midair towards somebody. No. That's it.
That's pretty much what was happening. And then I was sitting on our couch, and the TV screen, you know, when a TV's off, you can see the reflection in it still.
Sure.
So I was just kind of staring up in space, and I saw in the reflection walking towards me a full-bodied. It was not even out of the corner of my eye. I could see it directly, but in the reflection of the TV, a full-bodied. It was a man. It was a figure, and it was walking right towards me. I screamed, jumped up. My husband said, "Oh my gosh, what's wrong?" And then it disappeared, and that was horrifying.
Yeah, that'd be it. That'd be actually the knives would have been it. But then, so tell me you did move.
We are still here right now, actually. The spirit here will usually cut off our cell phone conversation. Like, it'll drop the signal on our cell phones if we ever talk about it. Like, the spirit while we're in the house, I give them to call my mommy and talk to her about how I'm scared about the ghost. So it will even cut off on our home landline.
Well,
Just drop all.
apparently it's decided not to mess around with Skype.
I'm surprised, actually. I told my husband while he was waiting on the line, I hope it doesn't cut us off the Skype.
You made it through. You know, that you're still in the house. I'm amazed.
Well, there's one more thing here I got for you. I got a strange feeling in our backyard. Our landlord had dug up our old deck. It was all rotting and falling apart, and he put in a new one. And he didn't just dig, post holes for the deck. He kind of dug up the whole front half of the backyard.
Right.
So ground that hadn't been dug up basically since the house was built. I was walking our little tiny teacup chihuahua, Ellie, outside of the backyard. I saw something on the ground in the dirt that had been dug up.
Right.
It was a human tooth. So I did a little more digging, and I found probably at least 50, 60 human bones in the yard.
Bones? Oh my God. Now what?
Yes, they're not surprisingly human bones.
At this point, you call the police.
Yes, we're gonna. Yeah. Oh, and some very old coins. My husband just reminded me from early 1900s. It was a little disturbing because.
No, that's not a little disturbing. That's really disturbing. And once I'm digging in my backyard and I start finding bones, that's it. I stop. I call the police. But you found, once again, how many bones, please?
I'd say about 50. There's probably near a full set of teeth, and several large. I'm gonna assume they're like phalange finger bones, but they're all. It doesn't look like somebody just. My friends tell me, "Oh well, a long time ago, people would just bury their loved ones in their yard if they couldn't afford a funeral." And I said, "Well, that sounds a little odd to me, anyways." But they're all in like hacked up pieces, which doesn't. There's no. I try to rationalize it like. Well, I can't really actually.
Hacked up pieces, not good. None of this is any good. I don't know. Maybe you should go, please. Maybe you should go, please.
I know. We actually have a friend of ours. Her family is friends with the Dalai Lama, so he blessed some herbs, like some incensey herbs, for us to burn in the corners of the house, and we're gonna.
So you actually had the Dalai Lama told about this?
Yes, and the Dalai Lama personally blessed and sent us herbs to kind of. We were supposed to burn them. I think is it every room? Asking my husband. Every room in the house to get rid of the evil and try to get out whatever's in here, because it's more and more almost every day.
Oh, why are you still there?
Oh, trust me, we have been looking at every single possibility we can to try to find another house to rent, buy, apartment. There have been times where we've thought about, packing up all our pets. We have a cat and a dog and a turtle and a hamster.
I would have thought of that. I hadn't actually done it.
Yeah, I know. Just.
Oops. Hello? Oh my. She got off the Lord. Vicky in Michigan, hello. Vicky in Michigan, are you there? Oh, Vicky's gonna miss her chance. Well, sorry about that, Vicky. We will move on. Let's see where to go. Let's go here to John in California. Hello.
John, I'm here.
Hello.
Oh, Roger,
Thank you. Who was that?
that was my girlfriend. Hi.
Good. I don't know. We've got voices coming out all over the place here. Okay, go right ahead.
I'll just talk to you again. Experience Ouija board, that stuff. My parents had a restaurant. I was probably 17 or 18. They sent me an email. We caught this thing, apparently. And one night, it got nasty.
The thing got this.
It claimed a female, and it said it was from hell. I can't confirm any of this. I don't know if it was real or not, but
In other words, it told you on the Ouija board that it was from hell.
yeah. And we saw this thing many times. And one night, me and two of my friends were there. Three bright flashes came out of the mirror, and they were blue. Oh, what you call that again? Out of the mirror. There were lights pointing at there, but they were not pulling out lights. So it was three bright flashes out of the mirror, and they were blue. So, they were really scared we ran out of there. We were around for 2 hours. And I said back because we left everything on in the place. We weren't supposed to be where we were at the time. When we came back, the light outside turned on its own. There was no motion sensor on the time. It was probably 87 or 88.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove again. We came back in. Turned everything off. Less scared. Scared. It was a whole story, but an update, maybe 2 years ago, the staff was freaked out by doors and slamming. I can't confirm this is what I've heard, but the door slamming over and over and over and over and over. They came out with knives. I moved away a long time ago, but something happened, and that's pretty much the whole story.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. And again, same house, I presume. These hauntings are real. Now, as you listen to these stories, it's not people out there making them up. These are real occurrences. They really do happen. So ghosts or apparitions or whatever it is you want to call them have to be considered to have substance. Not a word you would normally associate with something non-human, right? But substance. I think that's a fair way to put it. Here's somebody that's been waiting. Michael in Virginia. Hello.
Hi, Art. This is in Virginia, right? And this story, we're currently living in Virginia, but the story took place about a haunted home we purchased in Ohio. And I'm convinced that the house actually picked up because we had spent weeks looking through these little realtor magazines. One evening, my wife said about 2:30 in the morning, she said, I found the place. I said, funny, I found the place. She said, well, mark the spot, we'll look at it in the morning. So that next morning, we had picked the same house. So and we missed some of the early clues about, this house, like the stage on the mantle when we moved in. It started really benign with like whispering and just hearing noises. But a couple of the strangest things that happened was one night we were listening to you and Father Martin Malachi was on.
Oh, yes.
And someone had asked him, is there any danger with even talking about this stuff? And he told you, he said, Art, I think you were asking the question, he said, Art, he said, even talking about it now can be a problem.
That's right. Something you should be thinking about right now.
Well, and what happened, the words no more came out of his mouth when we heard this god-awful racket in the closet. And our cat ran over to the closet. My wife jumped up from her computer, and we opened the door, and it sounded, if I could describe it, it sounded like a bird, a large bird, thrashing in the closet. Opened up the closet door, nothing. And the cat ran out of the room. I mean, that was kind of strange. But probably the oddest thing that happened, my wife was working on her doctorate, and she had gotten up early one morning to go do some research on the computer, and the computer room was just like maybe 5 pages from the bedroom. Well, so not to disturb me, she closed the bedroom door. And I could hear her typing away on the computer, and it was, and I, sleeping in. And all of a sudden, you hear bam, 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 3 loud knocks on the bedroom door. And I thought, well, she must have locked herself out. I get out of bed, I reach for the door and open it, and my wife is reaching to open it from her side. She said, why are you knocking on the door? And I mean, it was just, you talk about, do you want to move out of this place?
Yeah, when you move in and you see sage, that's the big kickoff right there.
It really should have been. And I just want to tell you one cat story. I know you're a cat fan here. We had a cat, little cat Trap, so we had for 13 years. And we were moving to Virginia, and she was in really, really poor health. We decided to have her euthanized before we took her to Virginia, before we moved to Virginia. Well, my wife and I were saying she had this little cage, like a travel cage she used to love to sleep on in the kitchen.
Right.
And my wife and I were in the family room, and all of a sudden we heard this god-awful racket. If you can imagine somebody just bouncing this cage around the kitchen. I jumped up off the couch, cat on the cage. The cage is coming off the ground 5 or 6 inches, bouncing straight up and down.
Really not good.
No, it wasn't good. The cat jumped off, and about the same time, my wife said, come in here, come in here, come in here. You gotta see this. And just as she came, this thing continued to bounce hard for probably 10 seconds after the cat got off. And I'm not talking just like shaking. I'm talking straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down.
Yes, sir.
And just as my wife came around the corner, it stopped. So, but this house had just so many little things like that, and probably the very worst. And I didn't tell my wife this until after we moved out of the house. But we had one time we had 3 cats, and we had our pantry down in the basement, and I'm coming up the steps, and I'm not afraid cats will bother me because we lived in this place for 13 years. But all of a sudden I heard this low, guttural kind of growling coming from the corner of the basement. And I thought, wow, that sounds like the cats are really getting me to get into one, That's what I'm telling myself. The hair is standing up on the back of my neck. Well, just as I get to the top of the steps, I look over, and all 3 cats are curled up in the sunlight coming through the kitchen window. There was a cat down the basement.
So when the cats go off?
Not at all, Rick. So, but anyway,
all I can tell you, sir, is take sage advice. Don't give information like that. Whole cat thing jumping up and down, bad. The growling in the corner, really bad. Let's go to Skype. You're on the air. Hello, it's Aku, I believe.
Oh, it's me?
It's you, yes. Aku, where are you calling from?
I'm calling on Finland.
Finland.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, welcome.
I'm glad to be on. I believe it. I'm actually quite a shock.
Well, you actually are, yes.
Yeah, oh yeah. Roswell, first of all, I'm a big fan of yours. You know, for a long time.
Finish Roswell's. Excellent.
All right, yeah. Well, it's goes on to today, so I guess I'm going to go from a story too. And I hope you understand my bad English, but
So far, so good.
okay. Well, this is actually a second-hand story, so I don't have a first-hand story to tell you, but second-hand is gonna. It's a good one.
All right.
Well, I have a friend who works as a security guard, and there's a mansion nearby, and he has to like go around it very often, once in a day or so, go all around all the rooms and so forth.
Yeah, check it in. That's what a security guard does. Yes, you have to go around all the times.
And he has an electronic clock when he goes and he checks out.
Yes, sir.
And he has to put the right code in there, and so when he puts the right code, there's a well, kind of goes in the alarm on mode. So if there's someone in the mansion, it of course alarms the local police or so. So you put the right code in. Wait for the right signal on the green light or so, and well, the story goes that he puts the right code in, and what's good is that you barely get the green light like always, but you get also quite laughing. I know you will not do like guys, especially like ghosts. Anyway, you put the right code in, and you hear a child laughing. Of course, you disable the alarm system to check if there's really a child in. Well, you go in, so totally dark, but you can't see anything. You just can't hear anything either. So you just when you go out and put the code on again, and well. You see that green light going again, seeing that, okay, so alarm system is on again, and you just wait, and you hear, start again, laughing. So, you just, what else there is to do? You just have to put the alarm on again and check the user again, see if there is anyone inside. There's no one inside, I think. What can you do? You just have to go outside again and put the code again, and after that, well, it didn't appear again, but
it was something. So, in other words, it was something. And once he does it again and again and again like that, either you've got a bad alarm system, or you've got something that you probably don't want to know about. All the way from Finland. Okay, let's make another choice. Always hard to choose, but we'll go to Mexico and Candace.
Well, happy Halloween, Art Roswell.
Thank you.
I have a ghost story for you. In the late summer of 2011, a really close friend, Holly, moved to Louisville, Kentucky. So on Halloween weekend, another friend, Debbie, and I went to visit her. And she had lined up a ghost tour. And this is something that you walk around downtown Louisville and they bring you here and there, 5 or 6 stops on the trip. And
Oh, very interesting, but I guess in that tour you don't really expect to see a ghost.
No, and to top it off, up until we arrived at the Brennan house, the main event had been the wind chill index. It was so cold, and we were hanging behind the rest of the tour group. There was another lady that had hip surgery recently, so we were getting back with her. And we arrived at the Brennan house. This is a historic mansion, and a family had lived in it for a couple of generations, and they were doctors and lawyers, a very talented family, but beautiful home, everybody crowding around the front, trying to get photographs of the orbs that the guide was telling us we were sure to capture. And we hung back, let everybody take all their photographs, and as people were starting to trek off to the next place, we had stepped in and started taking a few photographs, and I was the last one to linger, and I'm standing there taking some shots. I'm not seeing anything. And suddenly, I have both feet firmly planted on the sidewalk. And by the way, this is a reasonably dark street. There's nobody on the street. And Holly and Debbie are walking away, and you know, come on. I'm like, okay. And suddenly, I am roughly shoved in my left shoulder, hard enough to knock me off of my feet forward. And I'm thinking, okay, if somebody shoved me, I turn around to tell them how rude I think they are, and there's nobody in the street.
Nobody there.
Nobody there. And my first thought was, don't scream, go get the girls. So I quickly walked towards them and I said, you guys come back here. I swear to God, somebody just pushed me, and they're like, there's nobody here. I'm like, exactly. We dashed back, and the three of us were standing in front of this house in the dark, and we're taking photographs, and I just had this feeling that, like, the hair on the back of my neck stands up. And I felt like somebody was approaching me, and I knew we were the only three there, and I said, Debbie, I'm still taking photographs. Debbie, there's somebody around us. And I said, take some pictures of me. I feel like there's somebody behind me. And so she did. And as a matter of fact, I entered this photograph in the photo contest.
Oh my.
Yes, it was.
Okay, explain to me, since I'm not there right now, what came out in the photograph?
Well, it's hard to explain. I've never seen that kind of light anomalies in a picture, first of all. A lot of light streaking lights. I'm holding still in the photograph, and none of us are real proficient photographers. We just rely on our auto schmotto cameras.
Sure.
But particularly just behind me, up at the top of my head, there's a man there, and he has like a pasty face, dark eyes, deep dark eyes, and like an old timey haircut where he had like a little pompadour thing in the front, maybe.
And you're telling me I realize this man was not there?
No, there was no one but three ladies on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, one thing you don't ever mistake is getting pushed. I mean, you know, push.
Exactly. And you know, Debbie's taking these photos, and she's not seeing anything. She thinks she's photographing me. And so she turns and takes some more. We're like, okay, now we're really behind. We gotta get going. And I'm just like, okay, this is weird. And so we finish the tour, and we all go back to Holly's house, and
hit the stack, and we wake up in the morning, and we're all getting our coffee on, and we're in jammies in the kitchen, and we have the bar stool pulled up to the counter, and we're looking for our photographs, and I happen to pick up this camera, and like, what are all these lights in this photograph? And to myself, and when I'm looking at like, oh my goodness, this can't be. I mean, you don't even anticipate something like that in a photograph of yourself. And I said, oh my God, Debbie, look at this photograph. And she took the camera from me and just simply shrieked.
Yeah. Absolutely. Listen, I'm with you all the way. You might expect lights, orbs. I don't know. Orbs have been said to be souls, and I don't know about that. Streaks of light, normal in photography, right? But one, getting shoved by something, not at all normal. And number two, a man appearing in a photograph where there was no man. Really, really strange. That's quite a laughing shot, isn't it? All right, let's see who's been hanging. Colorado's been hanging. Hi, Darren.
Hey, Art, how you doing, Roswell?
Thank you.
When I was in college, I worked at one of the most haunted radio stations in America.
Any stations actually are haunted.
Oh, really? Well, I didn't know that when I took this job. I was an overnight DJ on a classic rock station. It was Cave Guy Radio in Deadwood, South Dakota. And the address, believe it or not, dead serious, was 666 Main Street, Deadwood, South Dakota. So we think it was a portal for ghosts because of the strange address in Deadwood, South Dakota, 666 Main Street. But everybody that worked at the radio station knew about a ghost named Doc Smiley. He was a dentist from the 1880s to the 1920s in Deadwood, and he had a dentist practice at the location of the radio station in the second floor where the radio station was located. We were located right across from the number 10 saloon where Wild Bill Hickok got shot and killed by Jack McCall, in the 1800s. So there's a lot of history in that town. A lot of people met untimely death in Deadwood, South Dakota, and that's why I think there were a lot of ghosts in that town too. And one of them used to hang out at the radio station and do crazy things especially overnight.
Poor overnight guys.
So you said there overnight one night. You remember the old AP teletype machines that used to come over?
Of course.
One night we were there, and the dentist office was converted into a newsroom, into a double pane glass. We looked through the glass and we saw a man standing there, old West garden. We thought that was pretty strange. We walked around the corner and nobody was there. So he was gone. And then another time when we were working there, for whatever reason, whenever we played Led Zeppelin's Whole Lot of Love, things just kind of kicked up at that radio station. Crazy things would happen. We would have clocks on the wall would turn upside down. The old cards, that we used to play that had the commercials on. We find them stacked weird or turned upside down. Just all kinds of things. Okay.
Well, actually, we used to, for example, if you played a card and you didn't allow it to reach you, you would automatically turn it upside down to remind yourself to cue it.
You're right. Yeah, that's true. So you remember how we used to stack those? Well, they would be all, changed around if you walked out of the room and came back. So it was just crazy things like that used to happen when you worked overnight at that radio station. You, through the corner of your eye, see dark figures walking down the hall. Doorways would creak and slam by themselves. And one night I was working late during a blizzard. And about 3:30 in the morning, I heard a really loud demonic roar come from down the hallway. So I thought it was one of my friends playing a trick on me. I went running down the hall to see if I could catch him. Went down the stairs, and it was a snowstorm. I looked out the door, and there were no tracks or anything. So I knew that nobody else was at the station other than me. So it kind of freaked me out the rest of the night.
I'm sure. Well, there are so many stories. I don't know why. radio stations are the target of hauntings, but they are. It's true. Now, I don't know why any radio station, clearly one dead, would allow itself to be marked as 666 in their address. Let's go to Skype and Michael. Hello.
Good evening, Art.
Good evening.
My story's kind of ongoing.
Okay, Michael, you're kind of not, you don't have good audio. Can you move a little bit or something?
Yeah. Is that better?
A little, back away a little more.
Okay. Is that better?
Well, not really, so just go ahead and talk to the mic.
Okay. I moved into this house 12 years ago, and every evening between 7 and 9, there's a thump at the door.
Right.
It's like someone hitting it. I'm knocking, and through the years, I go to the door, look out the peephole, and nothing's there. And so I just kind of blew it off as, it's my ghost. Well, one night I decided, okay, I'm going to go outside, sit out there and see if this is the kids or what. And I went outside and I stayed out till about 9:30. I'm back in the house and sit down. I get a thump again. And so I don't know what this has been going on for 12 years. And I called you about 3 weeks ago and told you that my cat sees something flying around the room. And you told me that you don't want to know what it is because if it would get a hold of me, it'd tear me up. And that's haunted me ever since. You scare the hell out of me.
Keep your eye on your cat, Michael. And thank you very much for the call. I see these things. There's absolutely no question about it. Anybody with cat knows. Texas Springs, Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Mr. Bell. How are you this evening?
I'm great, thank you.
Well, happy Halloween. Well, we only got 25 minutes left here in Texas.
That's enough.
Well, my story is about my twin brother, my identical twin brother, with whom I was extremely close. Back in 2003, December of 2003, he took his life.
Oh, sorry.
And obviously it was crushing beyond words for me. And in the weeks and months following his passing, we were close. Even for twins, we were extraordinarily close. And so from the very beginning, I sort of always felt that I would receive some communication from him. I didn't really have doubt. I had doubt as to how it would happen, and if it happened in a place that would make other people think I might be insane or something like that. But I really thought it would happen, eventually. But as the months went on, and this is, now 3 or 4 months into after his passing, I had not yet received any communication from him. And I was very, I just wanted to know he still existed. I didn't, at that point, I was still in shock. I was pretty fearless. I thought, even if the Catholics are right and they go to the bad place, if they do something like that, well, then I can figure out a way of getting out of there somehow. I really just wanted to know he still existed. And so I found one day from work, and this is, again, probably 4 or 5 months at the most after he passed. I was working a very manually intensive job, so I would come home sweaty and grimy, and of course in Austin, Texas, my ego is already in the 90s at least.
Sure.
And so we come home, immediately take a shower, dry off, and I was in the shower, and all of a sudden a song came into my head, and it was, I didn't attach any significance to it at the time. It was a song from Paul's favorite band of all time, called the Smiths. And so I exercise my God-given right as a person living by myself to stay in the shower, which I immediately start to do. And within 1 or 2 seconds of my starting to sing this song, which I did not think of, the song came to me and sort of asked to be sung in an odd way. You know, I think, so I started singing it. Well, within, you know, before I got probably the first full line of the song out, I instantly knew my brother was fortunately not in the shower with me. He was right outside the shower, and I knew exactly the elevation of where he was. I knew how far away from the shower curtain he was. Everything about him was there. And the feeling was so strong, I had absolutely no need to look beyond the shower curtain to see if there was any wispy smoke or, you know, if there was wind in my hair.
I think it was asking the hand you a towel.
Yes. Right.
Oh, okay, I understand that's very comforting for you, and I don't know how to interpret that, and whether I do interpret that as it goes, I might interpret that as your own mind doing something that provided the comfort that you had been wanting. I don't mean to diminish your story in any way, but as told, that's kind of how I would interpret it. On Skype comes Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Oh, where are you? Lisa, where are you?
I'm good.
No, not how are you, where are you?
Oh, I'm a truck driver and I'm currently in North Carolina.
Okay.
So, my husband was in the Navy and we were stationed in Guam and he was out at sea and my little girl was about 2 years old at the time. And, we were sitting in the living room at a McDonald's for lunch, and she looks over at the staircase, which is off to her left, and I'm off to her right, sitting on the couch. And she's looking at the staircase, and she turns around and she looks at me and she says, "Mom, can I give them man a French fry?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, sure." And she turns back around and looks toward the staircase again. And then she looks back at me and says, "Where did he go, Mom?" And I said, "I don't know, baby. I never saw the man." That was just, that's it.
Okay, well, that's a good one, I guess. There could have been a man there that you didn't see. Or...
Yeah, it was only about 2, so...
Okay, well, I appreciate the story. Thank you very much. Again, with that one, I'm not sure what to do with it. There could have been a man there. Or there could have been a man there that only she saw. Hard to say, huh? Let's go to New Hampshire and Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Art. How's Wells?
Thank you.
Good. Well, my story started about 23 years ago. My father had rented a house from his boss, two-entry house, cathedral ceilings, beautiful place. The first night that we moved in, my first night that was actually quite bad. I started with a really bad dream of me coming up on the back porch, you know, like a large deck. And I saw this old man there. And he was sitting at a table. And when he turned around, his eyes were hollowed out to a thought. And yeah, and he had that teeth were rotten. And just recalling it actually makes me nervous.
Apparently the eyes go before the teeth.
Yeah. And but not only that though, he looked quite old. But I woke up from it. But when I woke up from it, I was wide awake. And there were these big balls of light that was zigzagging through my room, and I was terrified. They were like giant, I mean, people talk about like spirit awards. I mean, this was back in the early 90s before there were any ghost shows or anything. But there were these giant boards. There was like a long tail zigzagging around my room. But that was just the first night, and a lot of things happened. You know, in the beginning, I didn't tell anyone because it was my parents and my brother. I was 16 years old. And it got to the point where I'd get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
I would have told everybody. You're not telling anybody about this?
Well, I was 16 years old. I was scared, you know, and I didn't know what my parents would think. You know, we weren't very religious. My father was an atheist. And my father, you know, he served in Vietnam. He was hard as nails, still is today. And, you know, he just didn't believe in that stuff. And, but I get up on the bathroom now on the main floor. I mean, this place is huge. Bedroom, my dad, you know, and then my brother's room was next to mine, and Jason's ours was my parents' room. And I'd be so afraid to get up and use the bathroom because there'd be a giant mist going down the hall. I mean, I used to walk into the hallway and it was freezing cold. And I would run down the hallway was long. When this place was a mansion, it was big. And I would run into the bathroom. And while I was using the bathroom, I could hear whispering and footsteps all throughout. And I'm just summarizing it because it's a long story, and I'm still being terrorized by a lot of it today. This was my family. But, you know, there was one occasion, like back in the 90s, for the old computers, on the older computers, we use a program I read, the screens would flicker. So you go buy one of those special screens you put on the Velcro, and it would stop the flicker on the screen. Back in the old days, it was PCs and Commodore Amigas and whatnot.
Sure, no, I remember.
Yeah, but while I used to love to write, and I still do. And as I was using my computer, I looked up, and there was this twisted face staring over my shoulder. And of course, this was like 11 o'clock at night. It was just, I mean, I could see the eyes even now. They were red, but they weren't like glowing red. They were pupils, but they were reptile-like. And I jumped out of my chair.
You know, most people, I would say move, but in your case, I don't think it would do a darn bit of good.
I eventually told my parents, and they thought I was losing my mind. And, you know, they're like, are you sure, Mike, you're not just giving these things up? I said, no. Well, I finally looked up enough there to talk to my brother. His name is Jim. Come to find out he was experiencing the same thing. Seeing the faces in the screen and seeing figures in the house. You know, I could give a French basement downstairs, and that's where the laundry room was. And I go upstairs to the laundry, and as I go to walk back upstairs, I hear someone whisper my name. And of course, I start up the stairs, right? I start running upstairs. But when I turn around, I see this white figure with bulging eyes. I can't describe what it looks like. You know, it wasn't so much there that I seen UFO.
Listen, guy, you're haunted. I mean, you are just thoroughly, completely followed and haunted. That's all there is to it. You're, obviously that thing will come with you. Well, Greg. Okay. That is your turn. Yes, it is, Mr. Bell. I'm fine.
All right, well, I'm going to tell you, we're going to let roll out. Trick or treat, think of many in Roswell that would like.
Thank you.
Be still there.
Yes.
Hey, well, yeah, you know, this story thread is kind of a little bit difficult to just get down in one sentence. It's going to be a few things that kind of equates around some of the history of the property that it's on. And this goes back to an area called Lawrenceburg, Pennsylvania, or anywhere back east. It's actually in California. It's about 14 miles from Dallas Steps.
Okay.
UC Davis in the 1980s, 1890s, I should say. I'll tell you about that. But formed this conglomeration of reclamation of properties that were taken over by the floodplains of the Delta. So they came in and they went with this whole invention about pumping up the water and storing up the land. So these were sacred lands to the Indians of that place. So anyway, what they did was they were able to get pumping stations in and get this one area reclaimed, which pretty much reclaimed the whole Delta region of Sacramento area and then down in San Joaquin. But this guy named John McClellan was the person that did the landscaping there in Golden Park, and did all of the landscaping on this property, and they made this property the signature piece of this land. Mm-hmm. So it kind of goes on from there, where there was something spiritual about this land to the Native Americans that were occupying it and living in that area. There's something they claimed as their own, and this is where they buried the letter that high ground. There was also something near the water, and then you have all the effluent of all the levees and dikes and things that were naturally created there. So they felt that. So it kind of comes down to where there's a lot of key players in this. I guess what we need to do is cut this short because
we do, yes.
I know I'm going there with you. There are a lot of people that are involved in this, but a lot of people that came into the hands of this property, here in Gus hands, this is all public record, not talking about this.
Just sort of tell me what happened. In other words,
the
heart of the story.
Okay. Well, anyway, there's a lot of figurative things that happened in this event.
Yes.
And what we were doing is we were trying to bring the property back up to the market, and we were working on it. And so, and as we were working with it, we had a lot of characters involved in it, which are all the threads, and maybe someday I'll write a book, but not for the next listeners, okay? So, what we're doing is, in the summers in Sacramento, they get very hot sometimes. And so we would do a fiesta thing, like around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and maybe stuff will cool off. Now, I have to have a water that is trying to shake the sheets off and spray on the cool bed. Well, I had this with that where and having these kind of weird brains about electricity. And I'm an electrician, so I didn't figure it's more than just my imagination. But some of these strings I was being lifted up through the light socket up in the ceiling, and then I come away with visible marks.
That can happen in dreams,
Well, I exhibited it to people that saw them and thought they would just scratch my leg. No, they were handprints where I could not put them on my ankle.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, those are weird enough things, but and there was a lot of other things that tailed into this. But I guess the most amazing thing about this whole story was that I met this gal, and she was very spiritual. As a matter of fact, she was kind of a handler for this.
We're going to actually have to get the part of the story, the end of the story.
All right, we're going to go right to this then. I guess that's one. That's me. So it happened that I was with this one particular gal. She was one of my model, and many of her specialties, she's very spiritual, and she could light and things. And we had all that energy going. There was a lot of energy connecting this property to begin with, which I didn't get a chance to tell you about all that. But as it turns out, like I said, I had these recurring dreams. One night, we were wrestling, and then I fell asleep, and then in my dream, I was going in and out of the bedroom to the kitchen. The kitchen was partly lit, really beautifully, kind of like green, and then checkerboard foundation on the bottom, and the lights were dimming up and down. And the house was falling behind me in my brain, but it was all well lit. It was all just like you would see it in your waking state. Okay, so, and then I kind of was behind that door. I was like, waking up, spooks are here. Because I used to refer to these guys as spooks. These are off property. So somehow I was like,
back in bed, and she was holding me down on the bed because she said I kept coming off the bed meditating. And those were her words, meditating. Like I said, going towards the fixture in the ceiling above my bed.
Well, you apparently like electricity.
I guess I was an electrician. I guess I would.
Okay, well, thank you, Craig, but we just sort of didn't get there. The levitating part was definitely interesting, but boy, that was a long trip. Let's go to Texas and Bill. Hello, Bill.
All right, what a pleasure. First off, I got to tell you, Mayor Roswell said it is so good to hear your voice. I've listened to you for years, and you're so much better than anybody else out there. Okay, I'm a doctor. I'm 67 years old, and I was in medical school. I was an exchange student, and I went to the University of London, Middlesex Hospital. And their hospitals and their doctors and their nurses were really great, but they were a lot less, they used a lot less technology than we did. The nurses were called sisters. And in working with the patients, I had a patient ask me about a very kind, nice lady that offered her tea. And who was that person? Well, I didn't know who that was. I asked her out in the hospital. And this is something that all the hospital staff knew, but none of the patients knew. And they didn't want anybody to talk about it at all. And the story of a ghost named the Gray Lady. It turns out that patients that ended up dying right before they would die would see this apparition that they thought was a nurse, but she was dressed. She was dressed as the old nurses back then did, before the current ones. And this is, I'm talking about the 70s, so even before that. And she would offer them tea, and they would be dead within 24 hours. And they told the story. Yes.
There was a story kind of like this that was actually in the mainstream press not long ago about a cat that would go and curl up next to somebody. I think it was in a nursing home. And every time this cat went to somebody, they would, within, as you point out, 24 hours or so, die.
Right. Well, I didn't read about that, but that's the kind of thing that was going on there. They had their own theory about it. And one time they told the story, the staff there, about an apparently well patient who said, who was that really nice lady that wanted to come off on one team? This was a lady that was doing well. And
oh, no.
Yes.
I see it coming. I hear it coming.
Right. And she was dead within 24 hours of a pulmonary embolus with life to her lungs. And nobody thought she was going to die. So it wasn't like somebody was just going to the people that we expected to die.
I hear you.
And the theory they had about it was that this was a nurse who was taking care of people in the old days in that hospital, Middlesex Hospital. And the patient had asked her for some tea, and she forgot about it. She forgot to bring it. And the patient died. And so their theory was after she died, this was a way of making amends to try to comfort the patients that were about to die. And they believed it totally. They were totally convinced of it, and they wouldn't let anybody tell it to anybody outside the circle of people that worked there.
As a doctor, how do you feel about this?
You know, I have seen so many things that you wouldn't think was possible. People lived that you wouldn't think should have lived. I'm on board with it. I really am. I mean, I think there's more things out there than people know about.
Obviously so. Thank you very much. That's very interesting from a doctor. It would be interesting, wouldn't it, to hear from other physicians that I know have heard many and have seen many things that should not be possible and yet are. Still, as a doctor, as a scientist, actually, and you can refer to a doctor, I think, as a scientist, so that's right, very well schooled. It's almost ingrained in them to, well, chuckle at this sort of thing, and yet they meet up with it And as they do again and again and again, I wonder how it affects them. All very, very interesting. All right. Obviously, Marty in California has been waiting a long time. Hi, Marty.
Hi, Art. How are you?
Fine.
I just wanted to tell you about something that happened to our family. I adopted my 3 little grandchildren, and the 10-year-old granddaughter of mine, she went over to a friend's house just for the night, and she's been over there a couple of times before, and it's taken her a while to go back. I just thought maybe it was just her and the little girl, maybe, had gotten into words or something. Kids do that. Anyway, she went over and she called me the next morning. And this is a child that doesn't get excited over anything. She was, Grandma, you have to come and get me right now. And I said, what's wrong with you? And she said, you just have to come and get me. I know, Grandma, you can't, you just stop doing anything you're doing, you come and get me. So I got in a car and I went over there. I knew it wasn't just a child thing. So I picked her up. She ran out the car. I left and I come home and she told her, I said, Sissy, what happened to you? And she said, Grandma. I said, did someone hurt you or did someone scream at you? Did someone touch you? No, Grandma, I'm okay. I'm okay. And so I just let her go because I thought maybe it's just nothing. And that evening, it was about time to go to bed. She came in. She said, Grandma, I need to talk to you alone. So we went in my bedroom and she just broke down and started crying hard and shaking. And I said, well, what is wrong with you? And she said, Grandma, there's 2 black figures in that house over there. And she said, they're real bad. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, last night when I was asleep, she said, something was breathing in my ear. And she said, well, and it started pulling me across the carpet and had me by my ankle. And she said, I went to the shower and the next morning, and she said that it was something was on the other side of the shower curtain. And she got so scared that she ran out without even drying off. And she said, Grandma, it's playing with that lady's babies. She has a little baby. So I had to make her a bed next to my bed because she just was hysterical. She was so scared and traumatized. And so the next morning I called my friends and I said, you need to come over here because we need to talk. And she got over. And I told my granddaughter, I said, tell her what you told me. She just broke down crying and she said, there's 2 black things over there and they're playing with your baby. And my girlfriend, she completely fell apart. So I told her she needed to ride home. I said, well, I'll give you a ride home. And my granddaughter said, well, I don't want to go. I said, how much? I said, I'm not going to leave you alone. I'm home alone. So you go. We're not going to get out. So I drove up in the driveway. It's kind of an upgraded driveway, upgraded, a little.
Yes.
And I pulled up there, and the lady got her baby, and she got out. And, this lady's hysterical. She doesn't know what to do. And she's scared too. And I told her, whatever you do, don't keep the baby from whatever it is bad. And it could really, it could slammer the baby and not bothering it. Anyway, she got out, and all of a sudden, my 10-year-old granddaughter started kicking the back of the passenger seat. She was screaming. Like somebody was stabbing her. She said, oh, Grandma, oh, he's coming out the bathroom window. It was a 2-story. And I said, oh my God. She said, she was screaming in a circle. Go. So
And
I was out of
you
there.
saw nothing?
No, I didn't see anything. I was having some kind of cardiac arrest. She was doing that. It was scaring me so bad.
No.
She was hysterical. So I flew in the driveway. I almost tore up my car. Got her home. She was just hysterical for days and days. Slept next to my bed. I had to get seats with shower curtain because she was worried about something being on the other side. I mean, it took a couple of months before she would sleep in her own room.
All
And
right, I would suppose that this kind of thing would put you into a state of shock. So that, yes, you wouldn't want to be in the shower, and if you were, you'd want to be able to see out. And playing with babies? No, I think perhaps it would be interpreted by somebody as play, but only takes once, right? Let's go to Jeff in California. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, Art. How are you?
Quite well, thank you.
Great, great. I'm a little nervous, so you'll have to bear with me a little bit. I'll try my best here.
Best thing is take a deep breath and just
Yeah. Yeah, we're not all used to being on the radio like you are. I have a ghost story that happened to me. It was back in June of 1985. A friend of mine that I grew up with had the same birthday, and I hadn't seen him for a few years. And we always tried to get together on a birthday because we had the exact same birthday. And at that time, he ended up in a little town called Lake Elsinore. And I drove out there. We got together and we went to, I asked him, if there were any old abandoned houses or anything like that to visit, because that's what we did a lot of when we were growing up. And he told me there was this great one nearby, and we went by it with this gigantic structure. And it was left over from like the 1920s.
all kinds of abandoned houses. I you.
Yeah, it was always fun to explore when we were kids, So just kind of doing a little catching up and all of that. But when I saw this place, I was just extremely intimidated. It was just massive, And he's like, "We're going to go in there tonight after dinner." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." It's just huge. So we went and ate. And driving towards the place, we ran into a friend of his, walking down the street, told him about it, went to his place, got a crappy.
Yes, we just
go to his place.
Oh, you are there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did we cut off or?
Yeah, for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what that was.
Anyway, go ahead.
So we went through this place, and it was extremely huge. It just took hours and hours to go through every bit of this place, room after room, on and on and on. Went through there, went out the back, and try to explain this because we went up on an outside staircase. We're sitting next to a room up there, at the top of the stairs, and suddenly I heard footsteps down below. And it was extremely, we're all very nervous. It's like, oh my gosh, who's in there? And no one said a word, and we're just sitting there, and the footsteps got closer and closer and closer and closer until they were upstairs on the level we were at, and these footsteps came right up. I had my back to a door. It was just pitch black in this room. And I mean, whatever it was walking just right up within arm's length of me. And it was just, I had no idea who was there. And we just jumped up and we bolted out of this place as fast as we possibly could. It was just really, I was just really shook up about that. Like, who the heck was that? Well, I went back the next day.
See, now, why would you go back after that?
Well, because I just went out to visit. It was broad daylight. Completely different. Yeah, but the thing that just, really got me was that seeing in the daylight, these footsteps that I heard, and they were as plain as can be. They were in a room below us and they came upstairs. And this is, to make it quick, whatever was making those footsteps, and they were as clear as my voice is. That person, or whatever it was, went through the ceiling and went through walls. Came, it was just, there was no way to go from the lower level where the footsteps started, except to come outside into this vast courtyard and come up the flight of stairs at the top of which we were sitting on.
Well, ghosts can do that. I mean, they can.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, but I just couldn't figure that out. Well, I was there the whole day. I mean, we were hanging out, and we went back that night. I had brought a really big flashlight with me. We went through the whole place again. Nothing happened. We went out the back again. We went out to the courtyard. We went up the same flight of stairs, up to the very same room. Went inside, like tearing through there. There's a little bathroom. It's all broken up. I mean, this place is abandoned. It's been that way for quite some time. And then as we're peering into this bathroom with a flashlight, all of a sudden there's this loud boom noise. But it was so strange because it was like just a second before that noise, we both just sort of simultaneously jumped back and stepped together. And then this noise, and then it's that comes cracking out of this bathroom, you know. They were all, you know, I mean, brushing through the hair and across the face and everything. But I heard these two very distinct grunting noises, very low, guttural grunt. And it was like, bats don't make that kind of noise. And in my head, and I'm telling you, so I heard a voice say, "Get out." It did not. But in my head, those words translated to that.
Yeah. It makes sense that it should have gone immediately out. That's certainly what I would have done. California and David.
All right, how are you?
Oh, very well, thank you.
Fantastic. It's a pleasure to talk to you, especially on Halloween.
Yes, sir.
My story goes back to 1988. I had just graduated high school and was working at this garden center in Pasadena, California. And it was a great place because there were a lot of the structures on the property were back from the early 1900s. And one day I'm in one of the buildings, and about a 15 by 15 row, and I'm against one of the sides of the building, putting up some paper, and I end up backing up into a ghost.
And how does one know you backed up into a ghost?
Well, I felt the person behind me when I stepped back. My foot ended up on their foot, so my heel didn't touch the ground. And I felt like I pushed a body back. And I turned around, I thought it was my mom having snuck up behind me, and I turned around and, you know, this is a big room, and there was nothing there. And by the time I stopped running,
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. You ran out. That's what I would have done too. You know, when you're bumping into a body, you can feel it. It's very solid. So,
absolutely. I literally turned around and said, "I'm sorry," and I don't think I got the word "sorry" out. I ended up coming back into the store. I literally ran probably a couple hundred feet out into the street, and came back and talked to a couple of the employees there. They had told me that up to 3 people had killed themselves on that site, and that just freaked me out.
well, I would say you definitely had an encounter with, I'm not going to say disembodied spirit because it sounds like that spirit had body. Let's go to Arizona and Barbara. Hello, Barbara.
Hi, Emmett. I'm just very thankful for your call. Very lucky to talk to you. Anyway, this happened several years ago. I was in my house here in Phoenix, Arizona, and my husband and I were it was close to Halloween, and we were watching TV, and it was actually close to midnight. I think it might have been October 5th or something, I'm not sure. But we were watching a show called Most Wanted. It was an English show with a girl named Eva, and they were supposedly doing a live show in London, close home. And they were having like a seance. They were supposed to be getting in touch with Jack the Ripper at one point, and then they were doing a Ouija board. And we had all the lights in the house out. We thought it was kind of amusing, and we were kind of enjoying it. So while we were watching the show, I had to go to the bathroom. So my husband was in bed, which is actually an important point. I got up and I went down the hall, which is like you go a short hall and then you make your way. So I was like 2 blocks away. And I shut the door and I heard from the back of the hall that I was next to, in the back of that hall is a guest bedroom. I heard footsteps coming down the hall from that room. And they were very slow, heavy, plodding steps. And the whole house was dark. I didn't bother to turn on any lights. And I thought, why is Robert getting up? And I thought, is he going to go feed the cat? Or because it was going towards the kitchen. But in my heart, I knew that that was not my husband. I just was aware that subconsciously that those were not his walking.
Right.
The steps got closer to me. They were very slow. They sounded just like Frankenstein. Seriously. And then they went into the kitchen and stopped. And I thought, if I open this door and it's all black out there, like I'm just going to die. I opened up the door, it was all black out there. Yeah. And, you know, I don't know what that was. I went back down the hall. My husband's lying in bed, staring at me. And I looked at him and I said, I thought I heard you walk down the hall. And he looked at me and he goes, I thought I heard you walk down the hall. But you were supposed to be in the restroom. And then I saw the light come on when you opened the door again. So we both heard it from different parts of the house.
Right, I got you. Let me tell you what I think. This is what I think. It's not what I know. You were watching, you said a seance on television. You were watching somebody manipulate Ouija on TV. And this is just a wag, but listen. These things invite things to you. And it will be that even on television, it does not matter. If you're watching this kind of material, or I might add, listening to a program like the one you're listening to right now, their discussion of these things invites things to you that you might not want. All right, where to go here? To Indiana and Phil. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Art. It's great to hear you on frequencies other than 80 meters.
Well, thank you.
And I want to give a shout out to the Nogia people that I'm very loosely affiliated with them. My story is about a friend of mine, Bodie, who's went back when I lived in Illinois. And we more or less lost in touch with one another, as people do when they get older. And I moved to this really painfully small town called Allerton, which was literally out in the middle of nowhere. And it's a fairly short story. I was laying in bed, sleeping, my own business, and I was dead sleep, and I don't like to get up in the morning, so this had to be something for me. Somebody's tugging on my foot, and I said, what's this? And it was my friend David. So goodbye. And you know, when this happened, I just kind of wrote it off with, Jesus and like big word, but I was curious. So I, got up and started to go to work on radio, and there's a news story that my friends David and Ted died in a car accident about 3 miles south of where I was. Yeah, and it hit me pretty hard.
And he had been tugging on your foot, waking you up to say goodbye.
That's right. And we were very close. I hate that Andy the word spiritual sense out there, but we weren't typical, not a high school kid.
Yeah.
So it actually figured that he would do that, if you know what I mean.
It does. That's one hell of a story, buddy. I don't know what to tell you, but, you know, if it had happened to me, I guess, first there would be horrible shock. And then, I don't know, I guess you'd be at peace with it because you realize your friend did say goodbye to you, but that's rough stuff. That really is rough stuff. I wonder how many get the opportunity, you know, to say goodbye. Anybody. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. To North Carolina and Ron. Hi, Ron.
Hello, Art. Well, I was to you. And I wanted to just give you a brief start on what happened to me. I have a best friend, and we've known each other for 30 years, and we fish a lot, and it's night fishing. And of course, we were school teachers, so that meant not much day fishing. So we do a lot of night fishing, especially in the summertime. And that's how I got started listening to you each night. And I probably had the first 60 radio test, and also had the first recorder and all of this because I would have to get up early in the morning to go teach school. And so I would have your program to record every night. Well, and so Alice, who was my best friend, and I would go out fishing on the weekends, and we were having to go through at that time. I think WBT in Charlotte was one of your stations at the end, and we would just get out there, and of course we would hear most of it. The boat would turn some way, and then a way that we would lose a little bit of the signal. And so it was just right. It was coming in. Charlotte was coming in on skip. Here you do. I'm a K4 FUG for 25 years. So we know about skip. Well, so we were fishing, and it was late at night, and I was listening to you, and you was listening to you as we fished, and just gotten through the section where you give the world news and talk, you know, maybe the first 15 minutes on world news. And I didn't know what the next topic was going to be because we catch a fish and that would go over top of your topic and so on. So we moved up to this lake, and we moved up to a point where there was a creek running in, and it was running into James of the lake. And as we found this point, and normally that's a great place to catch fish because you got the creek coming in with. Hey, James! Come here. Hey, James, come here. All right, I'm going to put Spooky Man on pause. Try this out. Here you go. Sit down there and tell your story. Here you go. Oh. Sit down like this. Here, hold on to that. Cord. Hello, check. Yeah, there you go. All right, you're live because we're in the middle of Spooky Matter. So we got a little intermission. Say, don't redo that chord. Is it coming in now? It should work. Yeah, it's a little bit here. Walk that out a little bit. There we go. I just got that cord memory. Got that cord memory on, James. Got that cord memory. Now we're talking. Now we're talking now, James. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all this story. I ain't trying to get across earlier, but the sound was kind of distorted. y'all been here? Yeah, but everybody, I think. I didn't believe that for a long time, and last couple of years I've been convinced that youngsters real. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I've had with myself and a few witnesses that experienced the same thing. So this is how it went. First time was about 2 years ago. I experienced a light bulb light up in my hand with it being socket and bright like it was on 120. My fiance seen it 2 days in bed. Well, about 2 days after that, I come in from work from out of town and a bulb out of the center of the cabinets come flying across the room and hit the fireplace. So I was pretty much convinced that there was something that, stolen. And every once in a while, it's been going on for about 3 years. Every once in a while, you can catch out your peripheral vision, you can see out the point of your eye of the silhouette, but you can't never get no definition of his face or his face or whatever. You can't really tell if it's a person, but it looks like a person kind of. It's weird, and then if you focus on it, it disappears. But it's been throwing things, and the mood thing. You don't even gotta get up, and it'll move your lighter off the back of your pack of cigarettes and put it somewhere other than where you're at. Where you've been all day, you've not been in the spot all day, you find your lighter there. It's basically weird, but it's never tried to harm us or anything. But they dug up mummies, and I was just telling my friend Adam that we found like where they had ritual masks, like ceremonies, and made these stone masks which they thought were like gods and treated them like gods and stuff. And I believe that that property is haunted with all kinds of different ones. I mean, different ones. I just think the one that is in my house is that reacts to us when we're down. If it causes to argue and shit, but we're thinking each other's movements. It is very weird. It's very weird. But I thought I might get that across because my video kind of spooky. So I'm out. There you go, Adam.